Hello, JMU Nation. Dave Thomas, radio voice for JMU football and men's basketball. Back once again. It's an exciting time for the NFL. The playoffs are here, and we're pleased to be spending some more time with a former JMU player at the NFL level, a guy who donated some time to us early in the year, gracious enough to come back around, Josh Wells, offensive lineman of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Josh, how are you, man?
Good. Excited to be back on.
First of all, we see the picture behind you there of you and your lovely family. Hopefully everyone's still doing well in all this crazy pandemic time.
Yes, yeah, they're doing great. Just doing as much as we can do, we're allowed to do, but doing it safely. And, yeah, it's been great to spend a lot of time with them.
Well, the playoffs are awfully exciting. Congratulations out of the gate on a big win for Tampa Bay on the road at Washington this past weekend.
Yeah, it was good. Like we were talking about, it's been a tough game. It was a tough game, and it's always hard to win consistently in the NFL, and it was good to move on.
Now, we heard a lot coming out of Washington's win the week before about Chase Young excited leaving the field at the end of the game going, I want Tom. And so folks are saying, yeah, I'm sure the offensive line room in Tampa Bay is well aware of Chase Young's request. It seems you guys honored that request and took care of business pretty well. But was that really something you guys talked about?
Not too much. But I mean, Chase Young's a good player. I feel like we play good players every week. And we just had a plan and got the job done. And those guys that played a lot up front did a phenomenal job.
Washington didn't have the best year this year, but their front four was maybe the biggest standout. What's the biggest challenge when you've got just one guy up front that's a stud, but you got four across the front?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to kind of make you one-on-one block the whole game. And like I said, those guys did a phenomenal job for us up front. Donnie and Tristan and Allie and Ryan, and they just they do a great job. So we had a plan for them and got it done. And Tom's obviously a great quarterback.
For the entire room, though, when you're facing a group like that, how important is the communication, maybe more so than a normal week?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously important. And like, I mean, the playoffs is a big it's always a big game. It's a big game during the regular season to get the playoffs. And then once you get the playoffs, it's also a big game. But I think that's something you build throughout the year. And, yeah, I mean, those guys did a great job.
Did you get a chance to talk to Jimmy Moreland, who plays for Washington, former JMU defensive back, after the game?
I didn't. With all the protocol stuff and talking, they kind of, I don't know. No, I didn't. So,
they frown on that, apparently.
Yeah, a little bit. I kind of just stay in my own lane and follow what I need to follow.
How different is maybe a locker room setup for you guys now, speaking of the protocols? Because I know that's one thing coaches have talked about, how they're having to spread things out. I know during the fall ball for JMU, some guys were having to work out and use other locker rooms and other rooms to change. How different is it for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, it was different at first, obviously, but I think it was we've adapted well, and each locker room is a little different depending on when we travel, but it's just kind of just what you do now. I mean, you follow whatever protocols they have in place, and it's been a blessing to get the season in and to continue to play into playoffs, because people were kind of skeptical if we would even get the season in. So it just is what it is now, and you just got to be a professional and do what you're told.
You talked about how exciting the playoff time is. You've been here before. What was the environment like, playoff game in Washington with no fans?
There was still energy there. You could still kind of feel it. I mean, you know the importance of it, and obviously it's a little different. But since it's been kind of all year, you've kind of adapted to that portion of it too. And I think you just know the importance of it, and you kind of rely on your team to kind of rally around guys and make that noise and energy for you.
You've been to the playoffs before. What's your messaging to younger offensive linemen who might not have experienced the platform and the stage that the playoffs are? Like an Aaron Stinnie, for instance, who played at JMU, is on your offensive line as well. What do you tell guys like Aaron about what the playoff environment is like, whether there's fans there or not?
Yeah, for me personally, I just try to keep things the same. Be in the moment, enjoy the moment. We're not just there by accident. We're there for a reason, and enjoy it, but also don't let it overwhelm you. I think just stand and just continue to do what you've always done to get where you're at. That's definitely what I would tell him.
The Buccaneers were 4-1 over their last 5 games, winning 4 games in a row. As the season winds down and playoff position is on the line, how would you describe how this team has put together 4 straight wins and won 4 of your last 5?
Yeah, I mean, coming out of the bye week, we won those last 4 of the regular season, and things just start clicking. I think it takes time to definitely build a bond, and it's kind of how our team's been. Things earlier in the season might not have looked so promising, but I mean, I think just as the year goes, I think they've always said like December football is important, and then January football is even more important, and it's who's playing their best football at that time that matters.
We've heard a lot with quarterbacks being shuffled in and out of the lineup about how important the offensive line being familiar with the cadence of the quarterback. With Tom Brady obviously coming in his first season, how long did it take you guys ready to get settled? And is that as big of a deal as it's being made out sometimes?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is. It's different, but I don't think it takes very long to kind of get used to it. I think you get used to it, and that's what training camp's for and things like that. But as the season goes on, I mean, it is what it is, and you do what you need to do.
You guys are back in New Orleans, where the regular season started, back inside the Superdome. Obviously, I'm sure it was pretty weird being there for week one and no fans. It's a playoff environment now. Really not many fans are going to be there as well. What was it like playing in the Dome? How different? Because domes are different anyway than an outdoor venue. And typically, that's a pretty raucous place. So how strange was it week one when you were there and there was nobody in attendance?
Yeah, it was very strange week one. That was our first game. We had no preseason games or anything like that. So it was definitely different week one with no fans. And then throughout the year, it becomes a little more normal, I guess you could say. But yeah, I mean, it'll be exciting to go back. Obviously, they're a really good football team, and they have a few fans now. But yeah, I mean, it's just going to come down to who can have that energy and play the best.
I was watching on TV something earlier today. All the Saints have won the first two. Do you guys get into all that? I mean, are you so focused on the game plan, or do you talk about pretty tough matchups the first two games? Are you cognizant of the fact that they beat us the first two times around?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know exactly what's gone on and things that have happened, but I think you go back and review those films and see what you could have done better. But we just got to be the best version of ourselves. I feel like when we go into that game, obviously it's a division rival, division opponent, and things like that, and it is important. It's a divisional game, and I think you go back and just see how you can contribute and help the team win, and see what you can do to help.
You said you try to keep everything as normal as possible in the playoffs, but do you spend a little extra time maybe on film or a little extra time here or there when it gets to a stage like this?
Absolutely. I mean, I think you just have to try to turn it up mentally, just lock it in a little more, and things like that. But I feel like, guys do that week in and week out. I mean, they're all in physically, they're all in mentally, and I think now it's just you just try to dial it in a little bit more, but just do what you know how to do, and then go out there and do your best.
But last question for you, but is it easy not to overload when you come home and you got two small kids who really don't understand the playoff system yet?
I enjoy it. I feel like I go to work and I put in everything I've got at work, and then I get to come home and be a dad and put in everything to be a dad. I think it kind of helps me disconnect from football at times rather than coming home by yourself. I think it's easier to stay in, but I think it helps me disconnect, and then I can kind of lock back in and go to work the next day. And we definitely found a rhythm and a routine that works for our family.
Do they like to watch you on television? Do they talk to you? Hey, we saw you on TV, Dad.
Yeah, my daughter Raylan, she's unbelievable. She kind of gets it a little bit, like go Bucs, touchdown, Daddy's on TV. But I come home at the end of the day, and whether win or lose at a game or play well or don't play well, and she just wants me to read a book and hang out there. So it's awesome.
Well, Josh, it's an exciting time. We are pulling for you guys, even though I'm a Panthers fan by heart. Want to see you guys do well and go down and take it to New Orleans this weekend. Thanks for your time again, as always, and best of luck this weekend.
Awesome. I really appreciate it. Thank you.